Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another of these absolutely gigantic Dinomania figures, and you might be looking at this one and thinking, well, it kind of looks like it's almost hovering on its back feet. That's because I have it squished into the review station so badly because the tail is so long, it just doesn't really fit in here so well. So, Dinomania continuing to provide us with absolutely massive figures, but this time we have an Apatosaurus, and this one looks really cool, but a little bit old school, I would say, and actually has kind of a similar appearance to the old Horizon model, if you are familiar with that, kind of a similar old school sort of a look, and I think that's pretty darn cool because I was actually a pretty big fan of that version of the Apatosaurus, and definitely a fan of what I'm seeing here with this one. Again, it's your kind of classic Dinomania style where you have that sort of soft squishy feel, but at the same time, again, a really quite high quality paint job and definitely a very nice visual, I would say, of this sauropod. So really cool, really nicely done yet again from what I can tell, but the only way to truly tell how nice is with a closer look, so let's jump to it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see some really nice looking skin texture. Like, they definitely did a very good job of applying the skin texture to this figure. They definitely did a great job of sculpting it out, and they also have some pretty nice looking coloration to it. As you can see, variations of reddish tones here in the face, definitely helping to make that face stand out quite nicely. We also have an eye painted with a black, given a nice glossy black, which is pretty cool. Even the mouth has a darker tone there to highlight it, which is also nice to see. And you can see the nostrils are actually up here on the top of the head. Again, very old school as far as that goes. Again, from the time period that we thought that maybe this dinosaur would consistently hang out in swamps and just kind of allow the top of its head to, break the water's surface to breathe. So that's pretty cool. Again, furthering that sort of old school look, you can also see that we have the ears sculpted out on this. And as you begin to lead down the course of the neck, you see again more really beautiful skin texture, like fantastic looking detailing on this. And there's also a nice dark wash, which you can really see starting to pick up right here. And that runs along the underside of the figure mostly, but it pretty much covers the entire figure. It's just a little bit darker, I would say, on the lower half of our sauropod. But you can see again we have nice brownish tones leading down along the side, more of that reddish tone running along the back of the neck. Super smooth transitions, and that dark wash just really ties it all together and again adds a nice element of realism, I think, to the figure. As you move down, you continue to see the neck grow in size as we lead closer to the body. You can also see the throat here running along the underside of the dinosaur, and a little bit of hanging skin there on the underside of the neck of the Apatosaurus. But as you lead down, you reach the body, and normally you often see like really obvious seams on these figures because they're just, that's the way they're made. That's kind of like a common thing when it comes to this style figure, but you actually don't really see it on this one. Like, you can make it out, it's there, but it's pretty well hidden, so Dinomania did a good job of hiding that. But as you lead back, you again see incredible looking skin texture. Like, this really does have a very highly detailed appearance to it, and you can also see the spinal column here running along the back of the dinosaur. And again, really nice transitioning from those reddish tones on the back down here to those browns on the side. And you can see they've definitely applied quite a bit of paintwork to it with, dark washes and stuff to really highlight the detail. And as you lead into the side of the stomach, you see a lighter tone begin to pick up. The dark wash becomes increasingly thicker as we move through the course of the body, leading to the underside. And once you reach the underside, you can see it's really quite present pretty much everywhere. But as you lead down here into the front leg, you can see some skin kind of stretching off of the front leg. You've got the elbow present right there, and as you lead down into the foot sculpt looks pretty nice. It's a little hard to really get various angles of this because, again, it is just absolutely gigantic. There isn't any specific nail paint for the toenails or anything, but I don't think it looks bad by any means because the coloration is kind of a similar tone to what I might expect the nails to look like on a dinosaur like this. As you lead back, you see more skin detail here in the lower part of the stomach. As you lead up here, you can see the hip bone there protruding from the skin. You can again take note to the spinal column and everything up here on the top. And as you lead down, you've definitely got some nice muscle definition in the thigh, of the sauropod, and you can also see lots of, again, skin detail, kind of creases and everything in the skin. As you move down the course of the leg, you can see the kneecap there in the front of the leg, and as you continue to move down, you can kind of make out a little bit of muscle definition in the calf, and then you lead down into the foot sculpt. Again, we have that dark wash present down here. You kind of see almost like an attempt to paint the nails here, as there is a lighter tone of color down there for the feet, but mostly in the nail area. And this is the part that's going to be complicated because we're going to lead out into the tail. Again, you can pick up on the seam a little bit here because, again, that's how they stuff the figures. It's to be expected, but yet again, Dinomania had definitely made a pretty good attempt to hide that seam, so kudos to them for that. But as you lead out, the tail again continues to have all the same style of skin texture and skin detail we've seen through the course of the figure, as well as that super nice, super smooth paintwork that we have all over this one. Really love the coloration of this Apatosaurus, and as you lead out, I don't know how we're going to do this to try to get the full tail in screen here, but as you move out, you can see the tail continues for so long. It is absolutely insane how long the tail is. Like, it is really, really long. There we go. We're back to the body now. But definitely one of the most impressive aspects of the figure, I would say, is the tail length. But of course, on top of that, it would also be the size. We're going to try to turn it around here so we can kind of get a look at it from every vantage point we can. But you can see the underside again has that lighter tone here and a very heavy application of that dark wash, just adding a little extra color variation to the underside of our Apatosaurus, and again really highlighting all of that skin detail. But if we try to turn it and get a look at the opposing side, you can again see the tail. The tail does lead out and curve at the end, but it's kind of straightforward for a large majority of it. You can see that. But as we lead back up and I try to find a place to kind of move the tail, you can again see that the legs are pretty much in a neutral position almost. They're not too far off from what we had just seen on the initial side. So overall, there's not a whole lot of difference that you're going to see over here compared to what we had just seen on the initial side. Let me try to kind of just curve the tail here so we can get the head in screen here for a moment and get a look at the head sculpt on this side. So there we go. We can now see the head sculpt on this side. And luckily, these figures are flexible because I have to bend the tail and bend the neck to sort of get the head in view here when it comes to, again, just being so massive that it's like very dangerously close to knocking things over all over to the left-hand side of me with my review station. But absolutely gorgeous head sculpt. Really nice looking paintwork yet again. This is definitely one of the coolest Dinomania figures that I've seen from them overall, because I love sauropods, but even more than sauropods, I love really large sauropods, and that's exactly what we have here. Now we no longer have the best angle of our Apatosaurus, as you can quite clearly see, but that's because we moved it pretty far over to the left so we can try to get a good length on this, because being so huge, I figured we really want to try to get the end of the tail in screen for the length. But from the head to the tail, and this is a little bit of a rough measurement because I don't have a perfect view of this, I'd say about 32.5 inches or about 83 centimeters. So maybe a little bit, off as far as that goes. It could be slightly over, slightly under, but that's roughly around what the length of this absolutely gigantic Apatosaurus is. I also like that even though the tail's kind of held up, it does lead down toward the ground and almost sort of has that kind of tail dragging look, again furthering that vintage sort of appearance for this. Don't know how we're going to get an accurate height on this guy. Again, it is just so ridiculously huge. There, we'll just turn it around, try to reposition the camera. I'll tell you what, some of these reviews, they are definitely a test, that's for sure. But as far as a height goes on our sauropod, you are looking at about 13.5 inches, a little bit under maybe, or around 34 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. Again, absolutely gigantic is the best way to put it, but hopefully that measurement would help to give you, at least help put into perspective how huge this is. But for a comparison, if not, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our exceptionally massive Apatosaurus from Dinomania, and you can very clearly see that yet again this is a huge figure. So if you are thinking of purchasing some Dinomania figures, not all of them are gigantic, but a large portion of them definitely are. So keep that in mind when, again, grabbing yourself some of these amazing Dinomania figures. They are usually quite large. But for another comparison, we have our randoms with the Safari LTDU Tyrannus, the Schleich Diabloceratops, and Collect Day Deluxe Dimetrodon, all looking completely minuscule next to our gigantic Apatosaurus, yet again showing that this is huge. And then again, when it comes to the randoms, we've got the Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus here standing next to this gigantic Apatosaurus, just to further show you that pretty much everything here is much, much smaller. And then for a final comparison, we have the actual Horizon Apatosaurus I was just speaking of, and you can see now how similar they look, but they do have some pretty strong differences to them, I would say, especially when you look at the head sculpts. If I can actually move the Horizon version back a little bit. If you look at the head sculpts, they do look very similar, but at the same time, a bit different. You can see very different style detail in the eye socket area on the Dinomania version, different positioning for the ear and everything. So they look similar, but not exact. However, I would say that the Horizon Apatosaurus here might have been inspiration for the Dinomania version. Very different appearance to the body, that's for sure. But if you happen to have the Horizon Apatosaurus, you can see that the Dinomania version is actually larger, quite a bit larger than even the Horizon version. So that really should help to show you again that the Dinomania version is gigantic. So this Dinomania Apatosaurus is really, really cool. Definitely another neat figure from them. I love their stuff. Always been a big fan of their stuff. Not just because their figures are so huge, which is definitely a selling point on them. You know, if you like big figures, you're going to love the Dinomania line. But also because I think they do a great job when it comes to the actual paint jobs of their figures. But again, you can see sculpt-wise, it's really nice. Has insane amounts of detail through the course of the entire body. Really beautiful skin texture, really beautiful fine detail. And again, kind of that old school sort of classic Apatosaurus, sort of a look to it, which I really love. But on top of that, again, the paintwork is really well done. Like I was just mentioning a moment ago, I love the tones of color chosen for this, and I think it looks extremely nice and natural on a sauropod. I don't usually expect sauropods to have, you know, really crazy flashy designs or anything like that. I feel like they'd probably be just like, you know, not necessarily darker tones of color, but kind of boring-ish sort of patterns and stuff. Like, I don't really expect a whole lot when it comes to the coloration of a large sauropod, when it comes to kind of flashy tones or flashy designs and patterns. But they did a great job on this one, again, because they did exactly what I expect on a sauropod, and that's, although they've given it some kind of flashy tones with like the reddish tones and stuff, they've applied them in a really nice natural way. For the most part, the tones of red are darker tones, and all of the colors look really natural as a whole. And again, they don't have any kind of crazy patterns or anything like that, which I also really quite like. And of course, Dinomania applies their, at this point, almost trademark dark wash, which I also love because I really feel like that amps up the realism of their models continuously. And then, as I mentioned already about a bajillion times in this review, the size is always extremely impressive on top of everything. Definitely a really, really large figure as a whole, and that's of course something that's really going to stand out in your collection if you do purchase any of these Dinomania releases, is just how huge and impressive they are. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these, like I've said in the last few Dinomania reviews that I've posted, they are looking for a distributor here in the United States. Currently, they're trying to find someone that would be interested in selling the Dinomania line to us here in the United States. So far, I don't know if they've actually found anyone. I know nobody has approached me quite yet as far as doing it, so if you are interested, absolutely contact me, or of course you can contact Dinomania, and I will include their contact information down in the description for you to get a hold of them and let them know you are interested in helping to sell the Dinomania line here in the United States. And hopefully that happens at some point in the very near future, because I would really love to see so many people having the opportunity to grab these without paying the higher price to ship from Mexico, which can be definitely a hassle. So If you are interested in selling the Dinomania line, please contact me or contact them again through the information that I include in the description, and hopefully we'll all have the opportunity to own as many Dinomania figures as we want at some point in the near future. And make sure you guys also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.